Tennessee takes care of business on senior day at Neyland Stadium, 56-0 win over UTEP. I'm Vince Ferrara alongside Josh Ward from Josh and Swain. And Tennessee off to a very slow start in this one, obviously. I mean, a struggle bus, scoreless through the first quarter. No one would have seen that going. But once they got it going, really able to pull away in the second quarter. And the final score ended up about what you would expect.
Yeah, first quarter was a tough watch.
Yeah, it was.
Tennessee's offense wasn't really able to do anything. UTEP moved the ball and then would get stopped, as you would expect. And Tennessee's defense would step up, shut out, once again for Tennessee against a weaker opponent, just making things so difficult. But as you said, once things get going for Tennessee's offense, who other than Dylan Sampson to get things started with the first touchdown? So he sets a new single-season record for overall touchdowns, had the rushing touchdown now total. And at the end of the day, good game for Nico statistically. The offense was able to get the ball into the end zone with Brew McCoy a couple of times. Good for him to be able to do that. Tennessee just made it look easy in the end because it was supposed to be against UTEP.
Right. Career high 4 touchdowns for Nico, and numbers were good. They're solid. And then you mentioned the touchdowns from Brew McCoy. You got 2. Square White had 1 in this game, too. Yeah. They had 1 combined on the season, which no one would have expected with the 2 most accomplished returning receivers. But, senior day, too, so that was very impactful for Brew McCoy and all those seniors.
Yeah, the passing game is just it's had its issues this season, and the wide receiver position has struggled to find the end zone this year. And it's UTEP, so I recognize if you're responding that way, but that's good for them because next week against Vanderbilt, a lot of this is, okay, how do you finish up? What can you do leading into Vanderbilt? And then if you have postseason games, that passing attack, explosive plays through the air need to be there. It's much easier against UTEP than an SEC team or a playoff team, whoever you're playing in the postseason. But good for Brew, good for Squirrel White. They're still very important in what Tennessee's doing. I think that's obvious. They're starters for a reason. So good for them to have that success in this game.
Yeah, Ethan Davis got in the end zone for the tight end position as well. Yeah, and Nico Yamaliaba, interestingly enough, said something in the post game. Boo Carter had another terrific day, 61 yards in punt returns in this game, actually led the team in tackles as well. And he said, well, maybe, hopefully we can get him on offense at some point. Actually, it's a really good idea.
Yeah. Well, Nico's got to be careful there. And I'm joking when I say that. But with our show, I don't know if you have, we've already seen texts during the show saying, hey, can Boo start to do what Travis Hunter's doing? Yeah. And remember, Colorado recruited Boo. That was the one school that seemed to maybe at least threaten Tennessee before he ultimately came to UT. So at some point, maybe that ends up being a real conversation. Boo is spectacular. He has a special ability with the football in his hands, and he has continued to earn more opportunity, first as a defender, then in special teams. But there's a reason there was a debate before he arrived at Tennessee, offense or defense for Boo.
Right. And you have to be able to handle everything that's coming out. I mean, he's still playing that star position as well. So there's a lot involved in that. Defense really good today. Obviously, pitched the shutout. 4 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. Far cry from what we saw against Georgia. Obviously, the level of competition was completely different. But, overall, solid as you would need them to be in this kind of game.
Yeah, defense did what it was supposed to. I'm sure the goal going in was allow no points. And there were a few opportunities for UTEP, but Tennessee's defense stepped up each time. Got to stop jumping off sides.
Yeah,
right.
Amazing.
I mean, it's unreal at this point. Yeah. But overall, Tennessee's defense did more than enough. Tennessee's defense all season has been terrific. The Georgia game would be the exception.
A lot of playoff discussion, a lot on the line. Results from other games went Tennessee's way, with Indiana losing and Ole Miss losing. Players were asked about it. Josh Heupel was asked about it. Higher stakes in Nashville next week. What do you think?
I think maybe the biggest highlight in Neyland Stadium was when fans found out that Florida upset Ole Miss. and for that brief moment, UT fans, I'm not going to say we're Florida fans, but they were fans of the result that led to a Florida victory in Gainesville, knocking Ole Miss essentially out, or at least behind Tennessee. So we'll find out everything here in a couple of days with ranking update and all that. But Tennessee should go into Nashville with the mindset, if we win, we are in the college football playoff, and there is a chance Tennessee could host. There are other things at play as we have this conversation right now, but Tennessee is in a very good position. It's where it wanted to be entering the final game of the season, playing to be a part of the 12-team field.
And they do have control. They talk about, well, it's out of our control.
It's in Tennessee's control now to be a college football playoff team, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Josh and Swain will have breakdown noon to 3 all next week, starting on Monday. John Wilkerson and I have a breakdown on Sports Talk, 6 to 9 a.m. Eric Gaines show, as well as Tyler, and we'll break it down. And then Sunday Sports Sound Off with Jimmy and Tim. Josh, great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you next week on 99.1, The Sports Animal.